Previously on the Benthelooney show. What the? And now, the continuation of our story. Welcome back to Ben Salutes, and I am not a pizza. What, folks? Did you honestly think that I was only going to salute 13 episodes of Season 4 Ponies? That totally wasn't my plan from the beginning. Anyway, let's take a look at the rest of the season, starting with... Look, are you going to show the picture or no? Ow! So, in this one, when Big Macintosh blows his vocal cords, Fluttershy must take his place in an a cappella group called the Ponytones. This is another episode that I like to call a fanfic episode, which is basically an episode so ridiculous, yet so awesome at the same time, that you would only expect it to be a fanfic, but it's actually an official episode. Oh boy, where to start? For one thing, we get the return of Flutterguy, and it gets a chance to sing. I love when a show gives callbacks to previous moments that you think you'll never see again. Also, this show once again shows how clever the writing is when a character who rarely has much to say loses his voice. You can only imagine the great comedy that comes out of this episode, especially comedy delivered by my favorite pony, Pinky, who railed the cages of several bronies by making Fluttershy cry. Wait, what? Oh, that tears it! You can make me laugh, you can make me happy, and you can make me enjoy life. But there are certain lines you don't cross, and you crossed every single one of them. So, all I can say is, what the heck is wrong with you, bronies? Okay, I'll admit, Pinkie Pie forcing Fluttershy to tears may come off as a shocker, but let's think about this for a second. Pinkie really wasn't doing anything bad, she was just being honest. I mean, she seemed to be the only pony who remembers that Fluttershy has stage fright, so that shows how good of a friend she is. Also, if Pinkie was just telling the truth to Fluttershy, Fluttershy only cried because she knows it herself. Fluttershy has admitted in the past that she's weak and helpless, and she can't handle crowds, so why is Pinkie basically reminding her of reality such a tearjerker to her? Why do you think Pinkie was just being a jackass? No offense. Actually, that is really starting to get annoying. Or not, you have to admit that Fluttershy is more at fault here than Pinkie, and with Fluttershy being my second favorite pony, it really surprises me that she reacted in such a sad way. Or that Pinkie was just another Pinkie clone, your choice. Bottom line, Philly Vanilli is another unique episode of this show, and one that I'll take great pleasure in rewatching. In this one, the Keymark Crusaders make it known that they are friends with Princess Twilight Sparkle, and are treated fairly well by their classmates, including Diamond Tiara? Huh. However, their classmates get jealous of them and expect Twilight time of their own, and it doesn't work out well for the CMCs. This is yet another episode that is about putting characters that don't normally share screen time together for one episode. I really like the idea of Twilight being a mentor to younger ponies, just like how Celestia was a mentor for her. Next, Peep Squeak returned from Writer's Block Land. Yay! And, once again, Twilight is actually treated like a princess in this episode. Let's give a big thanks to the writers for actually keeping up with continuity. Overall, this was a basic episode that didn't break much ground, but it was still very enjoyable. Yet another episode that stepped on many toes. Anyway, in this episode, Fluttershy takes in these little fairy-like ponies called the Breezies, so they can rest before she sends them home. However, Fluttershy's kindness ends up hurting the Breezies rather than helping them. Okay, I don't know about you, but I like this episode as well. With Fluttershy being my second favorite pony, I love episodes that focus on her. It's also worth noting that this episode does a great job of showing that sometimes kindness can do harm. That's rare for a little girl show. And I really like the Breezies. Can you blame me? They're so... oh, cute. I could just eat them up. In fact, I could, but that would be cruel. What do you think I am, some kind of sick, sadistic murderer? Well, I'm not sick, I'm just fine. Anyway, not much else to say. I just thought this was a cute little episode that I'd go against the crowd on. But then, we move on to this one. So, Applejack, Big Macintosh, and Granny Smith have to go make a delivery of apple pies, leaving Apple Bloom on her own. This concerns Applejack, so she runs back to protect Apple Bloom, and the bronies got angry. Okay, let me start by saying, I liked this episode. What was that? Did anybody else hear that? I think somebody just ran a backhoe through my garage. I'll let the wife deal with that. Anyway, the main gripe that fans had with this episode was Applejack being overprotective. It's out of character, they said. She's let Apple Bloom go out before, they said. I said no pickles on my Big Mac, they said. Well, here's something to consider. Was it ever established that Applejack wasn't overprotective? I think not. See, Applejack is the most down-to-earth pony in the show, so it makes sense for her to be concerned for her little sister being by herself. After all, we still don't know what the heck happened to Applejack's parents, so the poor gal must have had a traumatic experience in the past. So with that out of the way, I have to say that Applejack being overprotective was just part of one big hilarious gag. Also, we got another mystical creature that showed up, the Chimera. This show hasn't forgotten about the monster lover in me. Finally, I love episodes that focus on Apple Bloom, and there hasn't been one that has disappointed me yet. Not one. So, unlike internet dwellers, I actually watch things for myself and view them with an open mind, and I didn't see anything wrong with this episode. And nobody's going to convince me otherwise, no matter how many mechanical devices you drive through my home. I do more renovating. Another Pinkie Pie episode? Ah, yeah. So, Pinkie's sister, Maud, comes to visit Ponyville. The only problem is, she's the polar opposite of Pinkie, and the other ponies have a hard time getting along with her. You know an old cartoon cliche I'm really sick of? The dark character. Usually, this character type is portrayed as an emo who hates themselves and complains about everything. However, this show gave us a breath of fresh air when it comes to the dark character. Maud isn't your typical gothic character with a dark personality. She's really dry and deadpan, and has a humorous obsession with rocks. I freaking love this pony. She plays off of Pinkie very well, as their opposing personalities add some great comedic contrast. Another source of humor comes from the ponies' reactions to Maud's personality. They react to it just how you would expect them to, and each one has its own unique comedic stamp. Also, on top of being one of the show's funniest episodes, it also has some of the most heartfelt moments. This line from Maud takes the rock.
I don't really like candy, but I do love Pinkie Pie.
After Coco Pamel, I'm practically immune to all the cuteness that this show throws at me. Finally, the lesson of this episode is very mature. Sometimes you run into somebody who you just can't be friends with, and in the end, that's okay. While I knew the quality of this show was going to get better as it continued, I feared that I would run out of morals and have to do the same ones over and over again. But once again, I was wrong. Great job, writers. So, Maud Pie, it really... Oh, you know what I'm gonna say. I'm a sucker for episode titles that are plays on words. Anyway, Sweetie Belle feels that Rarity is stealing the spotlight from her, so she seeks revenge. However, Princess Luna visits Sweetie's dreams and convinces her to undo her revenge before Rarity's career is ruined forever. Once the idea of Luna visiting dreams of ponies was established, I wanted to see more of it, and this show satisfied my fanboyish craving. With Sisterhood Social being one of my favorite episodes of this whole show, it's great to see more interaction between Rarity and Sweetie. I feel that they're sisters with the best chemistry and most story potential, and this episode shows it. This is just one of those episodes that has so many little pieces of great entertainment put together to make one joyous ride. The dream sequences are well animated, the comedy is spot on, and Sweetie Belle's rant is one of the cutest things ever on this show, and that's saying something. So, big shocker, this is yet another episode that I really enjoyed, and a perfect example as to why Season 4 is my new favorite season of the show. And yet another episode that focuses on the Apple family. Hooray! So, the Flim Flam brothers come back and they have a new product, which is a tonic that cures practically everything. So, Granny Smith tries it and actually feels many years younger. However, when Applejack finds out the truth about the tonic, she has a hard time deciding to tell Granny the truth. This is yet another episode that is down to earth and very relatable. There comes a time when every elderly person feels young again and they want to do anything that they set their minds to. And this episode shows the hilarious extremes that some of them can go to. And this episode shows that no matter what, it's always great to be honest, despite the fact that a lie isn't doing much harm. And finally, Granny Smith shows why she's one of my favorite side characters in this show. She always has high spirits, and it's really hard to watch her and not smile. With all that, Leap of Faith is, surprise surprise, another episode that I really love. We now move on to...
Where the wonderbolts of war, a general named Firefly, amazing and so bold. She brought them all together, spreading unity and fight, performing as the very best of wonder and right. Next Admiral Fairweather and the Colonel Purple Guard, give wonderbolts a bit of skill along with lots of heart. An Admiral named Fairy Flight and General Caprat have the bold flight, provide a style and finesse. Commander Easy Glider was the real cream of the crop, for with their wicked moves, the wonderbolts soar to the top. Wonderbolts, yeah! Wonderbolts, Wonderbolts, yeah! Wonderbolts, that is my rapid history of the Wonderbolts.
I've got nothing. I think that speaks for itself. Another great episode. And once again, we run into another episode that fans were unsatisfied with. You dang-nabbed backstabbing sons of people who taught you that it's okay to have your own opinions. Anyway, the ponies head to the Traders Exchange in Rainbow Falls, where each pony has a goal that they wish to accomplish by the end of the day. However, since this isn't your typical little girls show, nothing goes as planned. Okay, I'm going to start by saying, yes, I love this episode as well. Why? Well, this is yet another episode that focuses on many different characters. I'm a sucker for those kind of plots. Also, I was a little nervous when I was watching this episode because I thought I was going to suffer from certain cliches. But once again, I was dead wrong. Well, not exactly dead, but I was wrong. And I have to admit, this episode is one of the show's absolute funniest. I can't remember all the hilarious parts. And, you know, a show is well put together when I actually feel emotion for a stinking abandoned bear call. Not the bear call. So, Trade Jail is another episode that I had no problems with at all. What can I say? I'm either the easiest guy to please or the easiest guy to tick off. It all depends on certain situations. Oh boy, an episode co-written by Corey Pell. This is gonna be good. So, Rarity is bummed out after receiving some harsh criticism, so Spike finds a spell book that allows Rarity to sporadically come up with creative ideas. However, her creativity goes overboard and causes havoc throughout Ponyville. I like to call Corey Pell the Sid Marcus of this generation. I know what you're thinking. Yes, I'm not a natural brunette. TMZ will be getting a call from me. But anyway, Sid Marcus was a writer for the classic Looney Tunes cartoons, coming up with the stories for such classic cartoons as The Whole Idea, A Ham and a Roll, Devil May Hair, and Dime to Retire, just to name a few. Sid Marcus came up with some of the most creative and out-of-the-box ideas, which is how I can describe Corey Pell's episodes. They are unlike any other, and this one is an example. Once again, Rarity shows how hilarious of a character she is, and she has some of her best moments in this one. Also, her burst of creativity really is a delight to look at, and she comes up with some very pretty designs. Also, it's great once again to see Spike actually not being a comedic foil. He's actually a character that can stand on his own, if the writers would just let him more often. Speaking of which... now here's a sporting event that I can actually care about. So, the Questor Games have kicked off in the Crystal Empire, where Spike is seen as a hero. However, Spike feels bummed out because he feels as though he doesn't have much to do, so he tries to redeem himself. But it doesn't go so well. This is one episode that really connects to me as an entertainer. I try my best to entertain, but sometimes I fight with myself because I hit roadblocks and I just don't know what to do. Kinda like with this video. This has got to be one of the hardest videos I had to make, probably because the script is so freaking awful. Yeah, way to have an excuse to skip over testing 1, 2, 3, Mr. Creator. In fact, come on in here, I need to talk to you. What, Ben? What the heck, man? This video sucks compared to last week's. I just don't have much to say about the last half of the season. I mean, it wasn't bad or anything. In fact, quite the contrary. It's more of the same great stuff that I love about this show. But I just felt I've been saying the same stuff over and over again. So I just felt, okay, they get the point, scat you, this is my video. So, the point I was trying to make is that the hardest person to please is yourself. Being an entertainer, I relate a lot to that. You know what? I try, dang it! However, what makes it all worth it is knowing that I am appreciated, which is what Spike learns in this episode. Despite all he goes through, he is a character that I love watching, and he has a presence in this show in which it wouldn't be the same if he was taken away. This was a cute little episode that was a great appetizer for what was to come next. We made it, folks. Here it is, the epic two-part finale. Twilight feels that her role as a princess is limited, but when a new villain threatens Equestria, Twilight is put to the test as a guardian of her home. The best word to describe the finale is... whoa. Before the season premiered, Megan McCarthy built this episode up as an accomplishment that she was most proud of when it came to working on this show, and she has a right to feel that way. This two-part took everything that made this show great and juiced it up with the highest amount of testosterone. For starters, T-Rex is a threatening villain. He's able to steal the magic from ponies, and he gets bigger and stronger with each extraction. It also gets serious when Discord joins forces with him, betraying his pony friends. See? He made Fluttershy cry! Yell at him! Sorry, lost it there for a second. Also, there's a fight between Twilight and T-Rex. Yeah. It's just like all the little girl shows to have Dragon Ball Z-like fights, huh? But seriously, if you're somebody who still can't see that this isn't a little girl show, then I'm going to strangle you with my big old bear hugs of friendship! It was also really worthwhile to finally see what was in that chest. It's none other than the power of merchandising! Take that, T-Rex! Creativity is no match for corporate greed! Wait, what did I just say? Finally, this two-parter had some of the most tear-jerking moments of the whole show, and the one that had us all depressed was the destruction of Twilight's library. Goodbye, library. I'm sorry if bronies keep your memory on by constantly complaining about the castle that replaced you. All in all, I can't do this finale justice. If you haven't seen it, see it. But if you've already seen it, see it again! There it is. One big salute on every episode of Season 4. It's a season that once again made me proud to be a fan of this show, and I have no idea how the crew's going to top themselves for the next season. However, I'm positive enough to know that everything is going to continue to get better, and I look forward to seeing the rest of it. I'm Benthelooney. I'm going to go put flowers on the grave of Twilight's library.
You really want to party with me? Let me see just what you got for me. Put all your hands where my eyes can see. Straight buck wildin' in the place to be. If you really want to party with me, let me see just what you got for me. Put all your hands where my eyes can see. Straight buck wildin' in the place to be. If you really want to